Well, here we are again, folks. This is Brother Peter with tidbits from the Word. These little excerpts we've been doing, and we're at a count of 9, and we're going to be on the 10th one right now. And this is in the book of Genesis, chapter 4, and Cain and Abel had just brought their offerings. God had accepted the offering of Abel and rejected the offering of Cain. And Cain, what's called, the first time it's mentioned now, is the countenance. That's the countenance of a man had fallen. In other words, he had turned white. He was like a man that got his got caught with his hand in a cookie jar, or a man that got stopped by the police and got caught with an open bottle of liquor or something, and that countenance had fallen, and now they're trying to justify themselves. Well, Cain could not justify himself because he did opposite of what the Lord said. And the Lord asked him a question in verse 7. He said, "If thou doest well, shalt thou not be accepted? And if thou dost not well, sin lieth at thy door. And unto thee shall be the desire, and thou shalt rule over him." Sin is going to be there at his door, and he is going to desire that sin. He's going to follow that sin, and he's going to be ruled by sin. And because he rejected what God told him to do. And Cain talked with Abel, his brother. And it came to pass, when they were in the field, that Cain rose up against Abel, his brother, and slew him. That is verse 8 of chapter 4, the first murder that came about. And by the way, as we study, we're going to find the second murder come about in the same man's family later on down the road. And the Lord said unto Cain, "Where is Abel thy brother?" And he said, "I know not. Am I my brother's keeper?" Wow. Look at this. Look at what Brother Peter sees here. And this is what you can see. God at that time was so close to man that he conversed with him. He came down. He still walked on the land. He still conversed with man. And by the way, he is still conversing with man through his Son today and through the Word today. The living Word. Jesus said in the beginning, "I was the Word, and the Word was with you, and the Word was made flesh and dwelt among you." And then the Word went back to the Father. He was crucified, went to the grave, went back with the Father, rose again, and I am now again the written Word, the living Word, the Word left that you will be judged by. You will be judged by this book. Every man, woman, boy, and girl is going to be judged by this book, the living Word. And you have the Word here to judge you. God does not have to sit in heaven with a big hammer just waiting for you to do something wrong. He says in here, 1 John 1:9, He is faithful, Jesus, and just to forgive all men of their sin. That's after they're saved now. A man that sins after he's saved, whether it be a sin of commission, committing it on purpose, whether it be a sin of omission, that's doing it by accident or whatever, or whether it be a deliberate sin, that would be taking the Lord's name in vain and doing something deliberately that God said not to do. That would be telling a lie, that would be cheating, stealing, whatever God smites your heart with. He said, "If you are my son, you will be chastened." Now, you can take early chastening, which is God's going to smite your heart. He says, "Son, eat this crow right now. While this crow is warm, eat it. Tell a man a lie, go over there and hey fella, I just lied to you. My tongue, sometimes I let it get away and lie, and I lied to you. You do that a couple times, you quit lying. Hey, don't be a liar. Don't be a cheat. Don't do this. Don't beat people out of my. Don't do this. Pay your bill. Do whatever you say you're going to do. Otherwise, sin lieth at your door. And when sin lieth at your door, you will follow. You will cover up. You will do what you can to cover up that sin with another sin. Next thing you know, you're in real hot water and real trouble. Listen, 1 John 1:9 says, He, God, is faithful and just to forgive us of our sin and to cleanse us from all unrighteousness. My brother, just exactly like it was in Cain's day. Do you know that Cain didn't have to slew Abel? Cain could have fell on his knees and said, God, I deliberately did not do what you said. Would you forgive me and let me get right? Maybe buy 2 sheep from my brother and come over here and sacrifice them to you and make this right. You know what God would have said? Well done, Cain. Well done. No. Instead, Cain chose to perish into hellfire as Judas did. When Judas came and denied Jesus, Judas could have fell on his knees and said, Jesus, forgive me. Except he was the son of perdition. He was the literal son of the devil, reincarnated for this act. And so, because it's not God's will that any should perish into heaven. And then remember now that the story is made from the end to the beginning. And God knew the end from the beginning. And God was not going to have a man born deliberately cursed to hell. All men had the choice. But this man was the son of perdition. Back into the Bible. Back over here in verse 6. The Lord said unto Cain, Why art thou wroth? And why is thy countenance falling? You know why? Because of his stubbornness. Because of his rebellion. Because of what he was going to pass on now to all the children that come from him and after him. He was going to pass this rebellion on. He said, If thou dost well, shalt thou not be accepted? And if thou dost not well, sin lieth at thy door. And unto thee shall be his desire, and thou shalt rule over him. Sin is going to be in your life, and you'll rule over that sin. You can throw it out if you want to. You can get rid of it. You can say, I have sinned. Kick sin out. Or you can serve it and become ruler of it and have sin in your life. You'd be like the alcoholic, which I was at one time, and have rule over it. And Cain talked with Abel, his brother. It came to pass when they were in the field that Cain rose up and slew Abel. And then we see God came, asked him, and Cain said, Am I my brother's keeper? And the Lord said, His blood doth cry out of the earth to me. His blood is speaking to me. And he's telling me, you killed him. You shed his blood. You killed his body, but you didn't kill his life. His life is in the blood. And that life that's in the blood is crying out to me. God, I'm coming to you. I'm going to come home early. I'm going to be the first one in paradise. And he came. And then God put a curse on Cain. Cursed him over to the land of Nod. Everybody said, where did Cain get his wife? I tell you where he got it. He was 100 years old at that point when he went over there. And 100 years old, he married one of his sister's daughter's granddaughter or something, because they had had children from 30 to 100, and he was 100 then. He had sold his life out to raising a garden, to making his future, and then his plans were dashed through one act of sin. One act of sin can kill you, my friend, today. One sinful act can kill your testimony, can take your